Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Reshma Tiwari with the evening news. The headlines. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says government committed to make Armed Forces Tribunal more empowered and responsive. Government launches second phase of Grameen Udyami project to promote skill development and entrepreneurship amongst tribal youth. Heavy rain lashes Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Jammu and Kashmir. Locals and tourists advised to avoid travel. Country's mineral production records 7.5% growth in June this year. EPFO adds 18.36 lakh members in June 2022. In cricket, India beat Zimbabwe by 5 wickets in second ODI at Harare to seal three-match series 2-0. And in Durian Cup football, match between Chennai FC and Army Red ends in a draw. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today said the government is committed to make the Armed Forces Tribunal AFT more empowered and responsive. Addressing the gathering at a seminar on introspection, Armed Forces Tribunal, organised by Armed Forces Tribunal Principal Bench Bar Association today in New Delhi, he said that Armed Forces Tribunal will help in speedy disposal of cases. Mr. Singh added that domain-specific tribunals were set up to deal with diverse cases and clear pending cases.
आज जब आर्म्ड फोर्सेज ट्रिब्यूनल आत्मनिरीक्षण की ओर आगे बढ़ रहा है तो यह निश्चित ही प्रशंसनीय है। हम सभी जानते हैं कि हमारे कोर्ट्स में लगातार केसेज न केवल बढ़ते जा रहे हैं बल्कि केसेज अलग अलग डोमेन से होते हैं, उनमें डाइवर्सिटी होती है और इस डाइवर्सिटी के चलते केसेज का डिस्पोजल काफी टाइम कंज्यूमिंग भी हो जाता है और केसेज की पेंडेंसी भी बढ़ती जाती है। लेकिन आर्म्ड फोर्सेज ट्रिब्यूनल में संभवतः वैसी बहुत स्थिति नहीं होगी। हमारे आर्म्ड फोर्सेज ट्रिब्यूनल के चेयरपर्सन ने इस ओर बहुत ही अधिक ध्यान दिया है।
The Defence Minister also called for a balance between justice delayed is justice denied and justice hurried is justice buried to lessen the burden of pendency on the judicial system in general and the Armed Forces Tribunal in particular. Mr. Singh said the timely delivery of justice will not only reduce the burden on Armed Forces Tribunal but will also reinforce the confidence of soldiers in the system. He said the judiciary is a strong pillar of democracy and sound justice delivery system is the basis of Suraj or good governance. Minister of Law and Justice Kiran Rijiju also spoke in the seminar, stressing that the government was working to reduce the pendency of cases. He stated that tribunals like Armed Forces Tribunal were playing a crucial role in reducing the pendency. The National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC, in partnership with Seva Bharati and Yuva Vikas Society, today launched the second phase of Grameen Udyami project to augment skill training in tribal communities for their inclusive and sustainable growth. Under the initiative, the endeavour is to multi-skill India's youth and impart functional skills to them for enabling livelihoods. Launching the program, Tribal Affairs Minister Arjun Munda said the central government's complete focus is on strengthening sustainable livelihood for tribal population and it has sanctioned a budget of 85,000 crore rupees exclusively for tribal areas. He said there is so much potential and ability in the tribal youth that all we need to do is lay down the right avenues for them to use their talent in the right places. Addressing the event virtually, Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, said this new India will bring new opportunities and better prospects for India's youth. Minister of State for Tribal Affairs, Vishweshwar Tudu, said providing quality education to the tribal communities will open up several prospects for their growth. Grameen Udyami is a unique multi-skilling project funded by NSDC that aims to train 450 tribal students in Madhya Pradesh and Jharkhand. The project is being implemented in Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand and Gujarat. This concept was crystallized by Minister of State Rajiv Chandrasekhar and tribal MPs.
Union Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Sarbanand Sonowal, today visited the Shahid Beheshti port of Chabahar in Iran to review the progress in the development of the port. Mr. Sonowal is on a 3-day visit to Iran and UAE. Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways in a statement said that in an effort to invigorate the potential of Chabahar Port, Mr. Sonowal also handed over 6 mobile harbour cranes to Indian ports, Global Chabahar Free Trade Zone at the port. Iran's Deputy Minister and Managing Director of Ports and Maritime Organization, Dr. Ali Akbar Safai, led the Iranian delegation at the launch of mobile cranes today. Mr. Sonowal and Dr. Safai held a fruitful meeting on development of maritime and port cooperation between Iran and India. Both sides discussed the possibilities of trade and unlock trade potential between Central Asian countries with South Asian, ASEAN and even from Far East countries like Japan and Korea. It was also decided to form a joint technical committee for smooth functioning of the port. The meeting also addressed the future course of action towards development of the port. On the occasion, Mr. Sonowal said, India remains fully committed to development of the Chabahar port to realize the vision set during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Iran in 2016. Since India Ports Global Private Limited assumed operations of Shahid Beheshti Port, it has handled over 4.8 million tons of bulk cargo. Education, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship Minister Dharmendra Pradhan is on a 4-day visit to Australia to strengthen Indo-Australian ties and explore the connect, collaborate and cooperate aspect in education and skill development. In a statement, Mr. Pradhan said, reforms in India's education sector and the renewed vigour in India-Australia bilateral relations open up immense opportunities for both sides to establish the knowledge economy as a key pillar of cooperation. Mr. Pradhan will interact with the Indian diaspora tomorrow.
Heavy rains have disrupted normal life in Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Jammu and Kashmir. Locals and tourists have been advised to avoid travel. In Himachal Pradesh, 16 people were killed while 8 people are missing in rain-related incidents during the last 24 hours. Mandi, Kangra and Chamba districts are the most affected districts where maximum loss of life and property have been reported. The state government has directed the concerned deputy commissioners to provide shelter to the affected people in the camps. Instructions were also given to all districts to close educational institutions in the landslide and flood-affected areas and to set up camps in schools and community centres to provide temporary shelter to the affected people. Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Jairam Thakur has expressed concern over the loss of lives and property due to the torrential rains in various parts of the state. The Chief Minister has directed district administration to immediately ensure relief, rescue and rehabilitation work in the affected areas. He stated that teams of National Disaster Response Force, NDRF and state forces have been rushed to the spot to undertake relief and rescue operations where people have reportedly been trapped and stuck under the debris. Mr. Jairam Thakur asked the locals as well as the tourists to stay away from landslide-prone areas and riversides to avert any mishap. In Uttarakhand, 3 people lost their lives due to incessant torrential rainfall in the state. A cloudburst has caused huge destruction in Sarkhet village of Raipur in Dehradun district. SDRF has rescued more than 40 people from the area and shifted them to a safe place. Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami inspected the affected areas where a cloudburst incident took place. The Chief Minister said the administration and SDRF teams are continuously making relief, rescue and other arrangements in the disaster-affected areas.
बरसाती नदियां हैं, नाले हैं, पूरे उफान पर हैं। अतिवृष्टि के कारण से काफी नुकसान भी हुआ है, जहां पर काफी घरों में मलबा घुस गया है, पानी घुस गया है, कुछ घर टूट भी गए हैं और साथ में कई सारे पुलों को और संपर्क मार्गों को बहुत नुकसान हुआ है। कटाव भी हो गया है और संपर्क मार्ग भी टूट गए हैं। तो हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि जल्दी से जल्दी जो है हमारा पूरा प्रशासन लगकर जो संपर्क मार्ग हैं, जो पुल हैं, उनके वैकल्पिक मार्ग बनाए जाएं और आवागमन जो है सामान्य किया जाए और जो बचाव और राहत के कार्य हैं वो तेजी से किए जाएं। उसके लिए हम सभी से संपर्क कर रहे हैं।
The Chief Minister appealed to tourists to stop their travel for a while in view of heavy rain.
पर्यटक काफी यहाँ पर आए हुए हैं। मैं सभी से अभी अनुरोध कर रहा हूँ, एक अपील भी कर रहा हूँ कि जो लोग भी यात्रा पर हैं वो अभी अपनी यात्रा रोक दें, क्योंकि मौसम का अलर्ट है और भारी वर्षा की चेतावनी है। ऐसे समय में यात्रा करना उनके लिए ठीक नहीं रहेगा और उनकी जान माल की सुरक्षा के लिए, उनकी सुरक्षा के लिए, क्योंकि हम चाहते हैं कि सभी की यात्रा सुरक्षित रहे।
In Jammu and Kashmir, due to heavy rains in Trikuta Hills in the Riyasi district since late last night, the Banganga route has been closed this afternoon for the pilgrimage to Holy Cave Shrine of Mata Vaishno Devi as a precautionary measure. Earlier, the new track of Himkoti Marg was closed for pilgrims as there is apprehension of landslides and shooting stones taking place. Battery car, cable car and helicopter services also remained suspended due to cloudy weather. However, the yatra is going on through the old traditional route.
At least 2 devotees died in a stampede at Banke Bihari temple in Mathura district of Uttar Pradesh. Abhishek Yadav, the senior superintendent of police, said the incident took place during Mangal Aarti, which happens early in the morning. A lot of people had gathered inside and outside the temple to attend the Aarti. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has expressed grief over the demise of 2 devotees. He directed district administration officials to provide proper treatment to the injured and said that more stringent arrangements should be made at such places. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says government committed to make Armed Forces Tribunal more empowered and responsive. Government launches second phase of Grameen Udyami project to promote skill development and entrepreneurship amongst tribal youth. Heavy rain lashes Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Jammu and Kashmir. Locals and tourists advised to avoid travel. Country's mineral production records 7.5% growth in June this year. EPFO adds 18.36 lakh members in June 2022. In cricket, India beat Zimbabwe by 5 wickets in second ODI at Harare to seal 3-match series 2-0. And in Durian Cup football, match between Chennai FC and Army Red ends in a draw. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
मुट्ठी भर अंग्रेज और हमारे विशाल देश पर राज करने का स्वप्न देख रहे हैं, पर हम इनके स्वप्न को चकनाचूर कर देंगे।
निकल पड़े स्वाधीनता के पथ भाले, स्वतंत्रता संग्राम की सुनी अनसुनी कहानियों के साथ स्वराज हर रविवार रात 9 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Welcome back to the evening news. The mineral production in the country recorded 7.5% growth in June this year. The index of mineral production of mining and quarrying sector for June 2022 was at 113.4, which is 7.5% higher as compared to the level in June last year. As per the provisional figures of Indian Bureau of Mines, the cumulative growth for the period April to June 2022-23 over the corresponding period of the previous year has increased by 9%. The production of important minerals showing positive growth during June this year over June last year include diamond, gold, phosphorite, coal, lignite, zinc, manganese ore and natural gas. The Employees Provident Fund Organization, EPFO, today released the provisional payroll data. It highlights that EPFO has added 18.36 lakh net members in June this year. For June 2022, the net member addition has increased by 9.21% as compared to May this year. Year-on-year comparison of payroll data reflects that June this year has registered an increase of 5.53 lakh in terms of net member addition, comparing the corresponding month during last year. Out of the total 18.36 lakh members added during June, around 10.54 lakh new members have been covered under EPF and MP Act 1952 for the first time. New member joining has shown a growing trend since April this year.
Sovereign Gold Bonds 2022-23 Series 2 will be opened for subscription from Monday. It will continue till Friday. The Finance Ministry said the issue price of the bond during the subscription period will be 5,197 rupees per gram. The Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI, issued summons to some accused for questioning today in the case related to irregularities in implementation of the Delhi excise policy. The sources said that the agency is examining the documents seized during raids in the national capital yesterday. The agency carried out searches at 31 places, which included premises related to Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia as well as some bureaucrats and businessmen. Sources said once the process of examining the documents and electronic gadgets as well as the bank transactions is completed, summons will be issued to other accused. The CBI FIR, which was registered on Wednesday, has also been shared with the Enforcement Directorate, which will look into the allegations of money laundering. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur today questioned the Delhi government's new excise policy, alleging nexus between liquor companies and AAP government. Briefing the media on CBI raids against Mr. Sisodia over irregularities in excise policy, Mr. Thakur sought to know why the new excise policy was taken back if no corruption had occurred. He also questioned why blacklisted companies were given tenders and 144 crore rupees were allegedly returned to liquor mafia. He stated that Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia have no answers to these questions.
मनीष सिसोदिया जी ने कहा शराब के घोटाले की चिंता ना करें, ये तो मान लिया शराब का घोटाला हुआ। अब पहली बात ये आती है कि मनीष जी आखिरकार अगर आपकी शराब नीति ठीक थी तो वापस क्यों ली? मनीष सिसोदिया जी बताएं कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनियों को रिटेल में ठेके की अगर अनुमति नहीं होती थी तो आपने क्यों दी? आप ये भी बताइए कि खाओ गली और इंडो स्पिरिट जैसी ब्लैक लिस्टेड कंपनियों को क्या आपने ठेका दिया या नहीं? इनके नेता ने कहा कोविड से हमें लेना देना नहीं, तो भाई शराब वालों से क्या लेना देना था आपका, ये तो बता दो। मेरा इनसे एक और सवाल है कि आखिरकार शराब माफिया को बगैर कैबिनेट अप्रूवल के 144 करोड़ रुपया क्यों वापस किया, किसके कहने पर किया?
Meanwhile, Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia claimed that the excise policy was implemented with complete transparency and there was no scam. Briefing media, Mr. Sisodia alleged that BJP is not concerned about liquor scam, but their worry is rising stature of Mr. Kejriwal in the national politics.
Senior BJP leader and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has stressed on empowering the last person in the queue. He said the Modi government is following the philosophy of integral humanism of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay, who had said the primary concern in the country should be to build an indigenous development model that has human beings at its core focus. Mr. Singh was addressing a gathering after inaugurating Panch Kamal, the state office of BJP in Panchkula. BJP National President Jagat Prakash Nadda today said Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led central government has taken several measures for the welfare of farmers with a fourfold increase in the agricultural budget in 8 years. Mr. Nadda was addressing a large gathering at a program organized under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav at Paonta Sahib in Sirmaur district.
जितना काम नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार ने किसानों के लिए किया, किसी भी सरकार ने वो काम नहीं किया। और आपको जान करके खुशी होगी कि कृषि का बजट 4 गुना बढ़ा है। 2014 में जहां ये 33,000 करोड़ रुपए था, आज ये 1,33,000 करोड़ रुपए है। प्रधानमंत्री सिंचाई योजना के तहत 93,000 करोड़ रुपए खर्च होने, प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना में लगभग 1.2 लाख लोगों का सेटलमेंट हो गया है किसानों का। अगर हम बात करें डिफेंस एक्सपोर्ट्स की, हम लोग पहले डिफेंस का सामान आयात करते थे, अब हम निर्यात करते हैं। 1,520 करोड़ रुपए हम एक्सपोर्ट करते थे, आज हम 8,435 करोड़ रुपए एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। ये बदलता भारत है, ये दिखता हुआ बदलता भारत है।
The BJP president said Himachal Pradesh has emerged as the front-runner among states in matter of development. He said it has been possible due to Himachal Pradesh's dedication and commitment to ensure welfare of the people of the state, and all this was possible due to the double-engine governments at the centre and the state. In Jammu and Kashmir, amid reports that more than 25 lakh voters will be added in the electoral rolls in electoral revision, the administration has clarified that this is misrepresentation of facts being spread by some vested interests. AIR Jammu correspondent reports that according to authorities, this revision of electoral rolls will cover existing residents of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. An increase in numbers will be of the voters who have attained the age of 18 years as on the 1st of October this year or earlier. The administration further clarified that no change has been made in the special provisions for Kashmiri migrants for their enrollment in the electoral rolls of their original native constituencies.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for the 1.3 billion citizens across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with a series, Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashwani Ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio.
आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ स्वतंत्रता के 75 वर्ष का उत्सव, जीवंत यात्रा की स्मृतियां, स्वतंत्र भारत की उपलब्धियां और कुछ रोमांचक पल। तो आप भी जुड़िए और सुनना न भूलें 15 अगस्त से प्रतिदिन हमारे FM गोल्ड 100.1 और दूसरे चैनलों पर आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ।
In today's episode, we bring you the story of Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel.
As the first Home Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, Sardar Patel played the key role in the integration of the 565 princely states into the Indian Federation. Even today, he is remembered as the man who united India. Mahatma Gandhi had said to Patel that the problem of integration of the states is so difficult that he alone can solve it. Patel was considered a statesman of integrity with a practical acumen and resolve to accomplish a monumental task.
छोटे छोटे जो वाड़े हैं उससे बहुत नुकसान होता है और जिस चीज से मुल्क को फायदा नहीं होता है इस चीज से आकर हमको खुद को भी नुकसान होता है। वो चीज हमें समझ के हमें जो हिंदुस्तान आज सदियों के बाद एक हुआ है और एक मौका मिला है और एक अवसर हमारे पास आया है वो गुमाना नहीं चाहिए।
He invoked the patriotism of India's monarchs, asking them to join in the independence of the nation and act as responsible rulers who cared about the future of the people. While encouraging the rulers to act out of patriotism, he did not rule out force. He persuaded almost every princely state to accede to India.
जब सार्वभौम सत्ता हिंदुस्तान में से अपना बिस्तरा लपेट के चली और जब उसने ऐलान किया कि इधर पैरामाउंट खत्म होती है, उस समय पर मुल्क में क्या होगा और मुल्क एक रहेगा या तो उसका टुकड़ा टुकड़ा हो जाएगा, उस बारे में बहुत लोगों का अलग अलग ख्याल था और बहुत लोग चिंता में गिरे थे। लेकिन जो राजा महाराजाओं थे उसमें से बहुतों ने काफी स्वदेशाभिमान बताया और भारत की सरकार को साथ दिया। उसके लिए मैं आज इन लोगों को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं।
Sardar Patel is also remembered as the patron saint of India's civil servants for having established the modern All India Services system.
Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashwani Ke Saath can be accessed on @AIR News Alerts on Twitter, News on AIR official YouTube channel, News on AIR app, Facebook and Instagram handles. So tune into All India Radio News for Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashwani Ke Saath. Union Home Minister Amit Shah today visited the JPNA Trauma Center at AIIMS in New Delhi to inquire about the health of the 3 injured ITBP jawans who were admitted there after being shifted from Srinagar yesterday through special air ambulances. The Home Minister was briefed by the doctors about the health condition of the jawans and future medical procedures to be followed. Senior officials of ITBP also briefed Mr. Shah about the health condition of the injured. The Home Minister wished the injured personnel speedy recovery. ITBP personnel were injured in a bus accident near Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir on the 16th of this month. 7 jawans lost their lives while 32 were injured in the accident.
In Jammu and Kashmir, Bhagan police have cracked a case of grenade lobbing incident which took place at Gopalpura in Bhagan district on the 15th of this month. One person received serious injuries in the terror incident. Police sources said 2 hybrid terrorists of Lashkar-e-Taiba were arrested in this regard and the vehicle used by the terrorists was seized. Investigation in the matter has been initiated. Meanwhile, Bandipora police and army arrested one terrorist in Baramulla. Incriminating material, arms and ammunition were also recovered from him. Investigation in this regard is in progress. Earlier, security forces arrested 2 more hybrid terrorists at Handwara in Kupwara district. Mumbai Police Commissioner Vivek Phansalkar today said that the city's traffic police has received threat messages on its WhatsApp group about spreading terror. The messages were received late yesterday. Addressing a press conference, the Mumbai Police Commissioner said these messages threatened about a repeat of 26/11 like Mumbai attacks. The messages also mentioned names of 26/11 terrorist Mohammad Ajmal Amir Qassab and Al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri. Zawahiri was recently killed by a US drone in Kabul. Mr. Phansalkar said prima facie it appears that these messages were sent from Pakistan, adding that the sender mentioned that they have accomplices working in India. He said the process is on to register an FIR at Worli police station. Thereafter, the Mumbai crime branch will investigate the matter. He further said that police have taken these messages seriously and all angles are being probed into. He assured that to keep Mumbai and Mumbaikars secure, all actions are being taken by the police department. The threat messages on the WhatsApp group of Mumbai Traffic Police came a couple of days after an abandoned boat was found off the coast of Harihareshwar in Raigad district. Replying to the queries on strengthening of coastal security, the Mumbai Police Chief said Sagar Kavach operation has been launched by the police since the last few days and police personnel have been kept on high alert.
The World Mosquito Day is being observed today to raise awareness about the cause and prevention of diseases caused by mosquitoes. The day is marked to honour and acknowledge the British doctor Sir Ronald Ross, who discovered that female mosquitoes are responsible for causing malaria in the year 1897. When it comes to mosquito-borne diseases, malaria has the greatest global impact. According to the World Health Organization, malaria alone is responsible for the death of 400,000 people per year. Other mosquito-borne diseases, even if not fatal, can have devastating consequences for patients. In cricket, India defeated Zimbabwe by 5 wickets in the second one-day international at Harare. With the win, India have taken the unassailable lead of 2-0 in the 3-match series. Chasing the target of 162 runs set by Zimbabwe, India overhauled the score with 146 balls remaining. Earlier, after put into bat, Zimbabwe were bowled out for only 161 runs in just 38.1 overs due to the superb performance by Indian bowling lineup. In Durian Cup football, Rajasthan United defeated ATK Mohan Bhagan 3-2 at Salt Lake Stadium in Kolkata. Earlier in the evening, the match between Chennai FC and Army Red ended in a draw at Kuman Lampak Stadium, Imphal. Both the teams scored 2 goals each.
Now let us have a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is expected to have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Mumbai likely to have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain too. Kolkata is expected to have generally cloudy, partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Chennai will witness generally cloudy sky. Srinagar is expected to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Muzaffarabad is expected to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Gilgit will experience generally cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. In the south, Hyderabad will experience generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Bengaluru will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Thiruvananthapuram expected to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. In northeast, Guwahati, Imphal, Aizawl, Shillong, Gangtok, Kohima, Itanagar will have partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says government committed to make Armed Forces Tribunal more empowered and responsive. Government launches second phase of Grameen Udyami project to promote skill development and entrepreneurship amongst tribal youth. Heavy rain lashes Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Jammu, Kashmir. Locals and tourists advised to avoid travel. Country's mineral production records 7.5% growth in June this year. EPFO adds 18.36 lakh members in June 2022. In cricket, India beat Zimbabwe by 5 wickets in second ODI at Harare to seal 3-match series 2-0. And in Durian Cup football, match between Chennai FC and Army Red ends in a draw. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.